The verse Epos, Venus and Adonis, submitted anonymously to the Printers Guild on April 1593, was published in September 1593 as William Shakespeare's Opus 1, First Heir of My Invention. His name was not on the title page, but in the dedication. Up to this point, no source exists that identifies Shakespeare as a poet or actor. It is downright inconceivable that Shakespeare, emerging from the cosmic void like an interdimensional time traveler with no discernible history, no prior scribbles, and possibly no literary existence, suddenly materialized in the public eye in his 30th year, wielding the literary colossus that is Venus and Adonis, as if conjured from the ether by some eldritch force or celestial accident. Can it be really coincidental that in his very first work, Opus 1 of Shakespeare, Venus and Adonis, in the same year in 1593, also in his first registered work, Opus 1 of Marlowe, Hero and Leander? A contextual comparison yields stunning similar phrases, expressions and idioms which definitely need a plausible and rational explanation. The following observations and reflections suggest a deeper inner kinship between both authors, Marlowe and Shakespeare. Just read, compare, and reflect 13 contextual examples out of Shakespeare's Venus and Adonis and Marlowe's Hero and Leander of the same year, 1593. 1. In both works, rose-cheeked is used to describe Adonis, as is also the case in Marlowe's translation of Ovid. 2. Both works refer to the mythological figure of Narcissus. 3. Both works associate an unruly horse with the behavior of a lover. 4. In both works, a beloved, sweet-smelling breath is mentioned, as in Romeo and Juliet and in Sonnet 99. 5. Both works associate the night with the act of love, as does Marlowe's Ovid translation. 6. Both works introduce the carpe diem motif. 7. Both works form an analogy between fearful lovers and soldiers frain of death. 8. Both works mention the credulousness and trust of a lover. 9. Both works deal with the contrast between compassion and harshness. 10. Both works use the same associative analogies of gentle heart, chest, and immortal hand. 11. Both works use the term Queen of Love. 12. Both works reflect on the influence of behavior changed in love. 13. Both works show that intense emotions can be subdued or softened. 'The striking contextual similarities between two poetic geniuses, Marlowe and Shakespeare, of the same age, both living in London but never overlapping in their lifetime's literary productivity, a single day, invite deeper reflection and inquiry. Notably, before the publication of Shakespeare's Venus&Adonis in September 1593, there is no verifiable literary work attributed to a poet named Shakespeare. This raises intriguing questions. A. How was it possible that Marlowe was replaced by Shakespeare within weeks of Marlowe's official death in late May 1593? One genius vanished just as another appeared. B. How could Shakespeare have remained completely silent until his late 20s, with no early works or discernible stages of literary development? It seems unthinkable that a figure as influential as Shakespeare would have left no trace of his thoughts or writings during his formative years, ages 15 to 30. Without consistent intellectual engagement and literary training, it is hard to imagine that Shakespeare could have suddenly emerged as a masterful poet and playwright. Venus&Adonis was printed by Richard Field, who had moved to London from Stratford some years ago and who had already printed works by and for William Cecil. Note: there must have been close ties between Field and William Cecil, since in the anonymous Arte of Poesie, 1589, with the same title, emblem and printer as Shakespeare's Opus 1, Venus&Adonis, Field printed a dedication to William Cecil. There are compelling reasons to assume that the arte of English poesy emerged from the hand of the true Shakespeare. There are serious other arguments suggesting that Venus and Adonis could not possibly have been written by William from Stratford. If you're interested in learning more of those weighty arguments, click link above to this video. Let's come back to the printer, Richard Field's obscure anonymous author of The Art of English Poetry. The notion that the author of The Art of English Poesy, supposedly named George Puttenham, was not a pseudonym but a real person, remains preposterous, if not outright absurd, to this day. The idea that such a totally unknown individual could possess such extraordinary poetic expertise alone in 1589 at the peak of Shakespeare's literary genius is extremely implausible. This exceptional mastery can best be attributed to the true Shakespeare, especially if we consider other remarkable textual facts. Listen and read next. In The Art of English Poesy in 1589, can it still be a coincidence that the anonymous author, as part of his theoretical poetical considerations, introduces text examples from Marlowe's and Shakespeare's works, such as Dido, Hero and Leander, Tamerlane? Astonishingly, beside alleged poet George Puttenham, there are many more contemporary impressive poets, with the name extension Ham reminding to locations and villages in England, such as Asham, Bodenham, Clapham, Feltham, Markham, Peckham, Puttenham, Sharpham, Tatham. Can this have happened purely accidentally? In case of interest, take the opportunity to listen exemplarily to the detailed video contents of Bodenham, Markham, Clapham, pointing unmistakably to Marlowe. Find those video links in the attachment.